There are a couple of things I want to start out by saying. Firstly, if you hear a little bit of tapping in the background, I can't do anything about that. It's raining, and well, that's just what it sounds like here when it's raining. Secondly, thank you guys so much for 5,000 subscribers. Absolutely cracked number. I really appreciate all of you who watch my videos, like my videos, comment, especially comment. That helps me out a lot. Do whatever it is to boost me up into the algorithm. We're gonna game our way all the way to 10,000 subs. And thirdly, I would also like to point out that my audio settings are screwed up. Once again, I always screw up my audio settings. I apologize. So there might be some static sound in the video as well. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see how it turns out when this is all done. Now, for what you're here for, the MiG-27M, this is a plane that I was actually pretty hesitant about actually getting into just because it's in the attacker line or something like that. I don't know. It's not really a dedicated fighter, although if you're using it as anything other than a fighter in RRB, you might be mentally handicapped, but that is to be determined. For now, I'm just going to stick it air to air and fly around with this beautiful 30mm and 4 R60Ms. Not the best loadout at top tier. There are worse, but you can kind of tell that this wasn't meant to be an air superiority fighter. Now, I'm just going to tell you straight up, if this is your first top tier jet, well, you've probably made a mistake. I don't recommend this being your first top tier, and that's simply because you don't have all of the bells and whistles. It's not going to be the easiest plane, and contrary to popular belief, this is not the lightest flogger. In fact, all of the MiG-23s are actually lighter than the MiG-27, and that makes the MiG-27 the worst dogfighter of all of the floggers, including the MiG-23M, the MiG-23MF, the MiG-23 MLD, and then, of course, you have the MiG-27. It absolutely can dogfight though, just because it's got that cool little swing wing feature. You can kind of just put the wings out and hold S on people if you get the chance. You're going to see in this video, I am actually going to get the chance to just hold S on people. That doesn't happen all that often in the early stages of the game, the middle stages of the game when, you know, the impact plays are happening. I don't recommend dogfighting and bleeding your speed in any jet, swing wings included, but it is there if you get the chance, especially at the end of the game. It will help me out and secure a win. For me, like most people, the main thing that drew me to the MiG-27M is this cool little one-shot kill 30mm. At least it's usually a one-shot kill 30mm. Pretty much, of course I get a crit right as I say that, but almost all of the time, when you hit somebody with this gun, they are going to get completely incinerated, and your one-shot probability is higher with this cannon than probably anything else currently in the game. The muzzle velocity is of course nowhere near the Vulcans, so you know they are Gatling style cannons, but the Vulcan is significantly easier to aim. That being said, the 30mm does have a little bit more velocity than the GSH-23, so it's going to be a little bit easier to aim than what you're probably used to in the Russian tech tree, so that's always a plus, and honestly is the most fun and attractive thing about this plane. I'm just going to go ahead and do a pretty quick summary of the MiG-27, and then we'll just talk about the gameplay for the rest of the video, because really the MiG-27 is not too much different than the MiG-23. Of course, the flight performance of the MiG-23 is going to be better in literally every single category, but you're going to be playing it pretty much in the same way, just with more limited weapon capability. That being said though, of course, like I've already mentioned, the gun is an upgrade, a definite upgrade, over the 23mm on the MiG-23s. So, you know, if you're used to the MiG-23, this is going to be a pretty simple plane for you to pick up. You swing the wings out as full forward as they can go when you get into a dogfight, you hold S on people, you do the 50% sweep energy retention, and you're going to bleed a lot of speed at high speeds, full wing sweep. That's just how the floggers are. And it is also worth mentioning that you get more than 12 countermeasures, which is something that the MiG-23M is limited to. I think you get the same countermeasure pods as the ones featured on the MLD, so you get a pretty hefty amount, and they're on top of the plane. This is the worst shooting you're ever going to see in your entire life. You can go ahead and make fun of me in the comments. I completely deserve it, but I'm going to keep this in here just because, well, one, it's a pretty good dogfight with the Viggen. It kind of showcases the capability of the MiG-20 or the MiG-27. Contrary to popular belief, the Viggen is not the best sustained dogfighter at top tier, and it's really probably not even in the top 5 best dogfighters at top tier. Any Delta Wing design aircraft is going to really suffer in a long endurance dogfight, and you can see here I'm keeping up with him plenty. Right when I see that he's stalling out, I cut my engine so I make sure I stall nice and neatly on top of him, and hopefully we're going to try to not choke all of the shots like we did going up into this spiral. And I missed the first burst, but the second burst does connect and completely obliterates that Viggen. He did a pretty good job, but there's just really not going to be a whole lot he can do 1 versus 1 with a competent MiG-27 pilot or really any swing wing pilot. The Viggen, Delta Wing design, not a good sustained dogfighter. It can of course pull that high AOA turn fighting thing where you're at really high speeds and you can turn inside of people with that Delta Wing design. But once that fight drags out to low energy states, the Viggen, it's not the best in stall maneuvers. It does stall very wonky, and it gets really hard to control at the low stall speeds. So it's going to be pretty hard for him to line up a shot. The F5 is a much scarier plane. In a MiG-23M, I wouldn't be quite as worried about it because I can just bleed his energy and hold S, but given that I'm a MiG-27, I am a little bit heavier, though I am still going to try to do the same strategy. But I will say that the fight between a MiG-27 and an F5E is going to be heavily dependent on pilot skill. The planes are pretty equally matched to such a way that the pilots of the two planes is probably going to be deciding who wins that fight. It could really go either way. I think the best players in the game would probably rather have a MiG-27M in a sustained dogfight. I'm not really sure. I've never really seen 2 of the best players in the game go at it, so I couldn't really tell you in the end which one is objectively a better dogfighter. I do manage to get the kill on him though. My shooting was a little bit better than on the Viggen, thankfully, and really I'm just trying to highlight how fun the plane is more than anything. It's really satisfying. It's probably the most satisfying plane in the game to get gun kills with, just because the sound of the gun combined with the velocity of the gun combined with the tracers, and then when they finally hit a plane it just absolutely explodes. It's just really rewarding and really does a great job at activating your neurons. The previous clip, of course, was that unicorn dogfight situation that almost never happens in top tier. But of course, if you're the last couple planes alive, you know, it's gonna happen once in a while, and having a plane like the MiG-27M is very nice. But that's not to say that you can't just have a conventional missile primary weapon type of game where I'm just staying fast pretty much this entire time, keeping my wings back, getting as fast as I can, lobbing R60Ms at people that I suspect aren't going to see them coming, and rinse and repeat. That's pretty much the story of top tier anyways. And when I can, I'm going to go for a gunshot, but I'm not going to commit on the first plane I see that's either presenting himself as an easy target. Even though I will take the shot, I'm not going to sit behind his ass and try to finish him off if I'm getting lower than, say, Mach 0.8, 0.7. Once we start getting a significant numbers advantage on my team, then I'll start to be a little more aggressive. I won't mind so much about dumping speed, just because I know that I have plenty of teammates in the area to back me up, and more often than not, the enemy is going to be worrying about way too many people to be concerned about me being on low energy. That is, of course, at the later stages of the game. In the beginning, like I said, keeping up my speed. We're going to go for some R60 shots here. That Draken was missing a wing, but a plane with one wing at top tier can still definitely be deadly if they get a good missile lock on a teammate that just doesn't notice them or doesn't see them as a threat. So I did try to get him out of the game. May have been a kill steal in your opinion, whatever. I don't really care. I think he's a threatening enough target for me to want to take out, and now I've just got my R60 trained on these two guys in front of me. The F4E not quite in range, and by the time I do get in range, I now have to deal with the F8. Try to get the shot in there, but unfortunately he just comes too close for me to use a missile. I don't know why I didn't just try to gun him down right there. I was just a little greedy with the R60Ms, wanted a little funny all aspect kill, and narrowly avoid death. I should have probably died right there, but I'm just lucky that I didn't. Spooling up another R60M, but the odds of that one connecting was just not that high, and given that I've already shot off two of them, I want to be a little more conservative. There's an F5C behind me, which is just obnoxious because really, he's probably not going to kill me, especially if I just top speed him the entire time, but there's really not a whole lot I can do to the enemy team so long as he's sitting on my ass. So thankfully my teammates come and clean him up, and now I'm able to turn myself back in the direction of combat. I know, not the most in-depth video of the MiG-27, just because, like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot that needs to be said about the MiG-27. I have MiG-23 videos out there that might be, filling in some of the missing pieces of this video. You can feel free to watch those. It's pretty much going to be the same playstyle with a little bit more handicapped performance in exchange for having a big old 30 mil. More of an entertainment video with the MiG-27M than anything, though I do think there are a couple of clips in here that can showcase the dogfight capabilities and hopefully entice you with that big juicy cannon. Maybe it's going to be fun for you to take out and give it a try. Sort of a low effort video, I know, but until the patch drops, I really don't have a whole lot that I'm interested in covering, but I promise once it does come out, I'll try to be cranking out content a lot quicker and obviously a lot more educationally and more in depth. Still have the top 5 worst top tier video planned, but I'm probably just gonna wait until the next update to actually completely finish that list. So until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Well, you probably didn't learn anything from the video, but I hope you enjoyed it again, and I hope I'll see you on the next one. See ya.